Welcome to the Deep Dive. Big thanks to Dulaxi for sponsoring. You guys are awesome. Today we're diving into the music of Myah and her EP. Is This What I See? You might know her from those TikTok videos that went viral.
Oh, yeah.
But we're going to dig deeper than just those snippets, and really figure out what makes her music special.
What I find really cool about the review is it presents her as this, legit artist, not just someone making TikToks. She blends all these genres together in a way that just clicks. We're talking alternative rock mixed with some pop punk, but with a definite synth pop vibe.
It's such a unique mix.
It is.
And it's no surprise when you see the review mention bands like Arctic Monkeys, the Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Modest Mouse.
Okay.
Even Sylvan Esso as influences. I mean, you can actually hear those threads woven into her sound. For me personally, the influence is strong, that raw energy.
Yeah.
What about you? What do you hear?
Oh, definitely. The Modest Mouse influence, I can hear that in how she builds these intricate soundscapes, starting with something simple like a melody and then adding all these unexpected textures.
It's true.
It's like she's creating a whole world within each song.
And the review even mentions inspiration from films like Titanic and Holes.
Wow. That's a range.
Right. That's a crazy range.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder how she translates those visual stories into music.
Yeah, if you think about it, Titanic has those huge emotions, like that sense of yearning and loss.
Totally.
And then you've got Holes, which is quirky and offbeat. Imagine mixing those feelings and turning them into sound. That's what she does, and she's brilliant at it.
It's so true.
It's nostalgic, but it also feels very current, like you're looking at a vintage photo while taking a new one at the same time.
Oh, that's such a good way to put it. It's like she's capturing this feeling of being caught between the past and the present. And that leads us perfectly to the EP itself. Is This What I See? What a title, right?
Yeah.
It makes you think.
It really does. It's more than just a title. It's a whole theme throughout the EP. The review talks about how it explores love, and then existentialism.
Oh, wow.
And just the passage of time. Some pretty deep stuff, but she manages it gracefully.
It is deep. And to think, this was all independently released just last month, February 21st. It shows you how much freedom she must have to create such a unique and personal sound. There's a quote from Myah in the review that I found really powerful. She says, "I struggle a lot with existentialism and how time moves too fast. I miss the memories of the past a lot, and I often wonder what life would be like if it moved a little slower. This EP is my way of capturing those feelings." I mean, wow, that's heavy.
It is, but it gives you insight into what this EP is about, It's not just about catchy tunes. It's about trying to understand life's big questions through music.
Right.
It's almost like she's inviting us along on her journey, her own personal reflection.
And that's what's so compelling, isn't it?
Yeah.
That vulnerability, that raw honesty that makes you want to listen more. Okay, so we have this mix of genres, a thought-provoking title, and some pretty deep emotional themes. Let's get into the music.
Yes.
The review focuses on 3 tracks: With You, Summer Love, and Say It. Each one has a distinct vibe, and I'm excited to break them down.
Yeah, me too.
With You is the first track, and it sounds really fascinating. The review describes it as having this ethereal, almost dreamlike quality, but there's an underlying feeling of longing there too.
Okay.
It starts with a gentle melody, almost like a whisper, and then it builds into this driving rhythm that just pulls you in.
Interesting. It sounds like a journey.
It does. And what about Summer Love? The review mentions nostalgia and an underground dance vibe.
Oh, cool.
I'm really curious to hear more with that combination.
So Summer Love is interesting because it keeps the production simple. You've got those soft kick drums and sharp rim shots that create this subtle beat that's perfect for dancing, but it doesn't overpower the nostalgic feel of the track.
It's like I can almost feel the summer night vibes just thinking about it. All right, last but not least, we have Say It, the closing track. The review calls it eerie and subtle, which definitely makes me curious. What stood out to you about it?
Say It is all about minimalism. It strips back the production, which lets Myah's voice really shine through.
I see.
There's something raw and intimate about her vocals that creates this sense of openness and reflection. It's like she's inviting you into this quiet space for a heart-to-heart.
It sounds like the perfect way to end an EP that's already exploring such deep themes. Okay, so we've got these 3 distinct tracks, each contributing to the overall impact of Is This What I See? But what does the review say about that overall impact? What kind of experience does this EP leave the listener with?
Well, the review praises the EP's cohesiveness, how smoothly each track transitions to the next,
Right.
creating this unified experience. It also highlights that Myah isn't afraid to show those difficult emotions. There's a real honesty in her music that I think a lot of people will connect with.
It's like she's giving a voice to those of us who feel a little lost in the whirlwind of memories,
Yeah.
just trying to make sense of it all.
Yeah.
And the title, Is This What I See?
Yeah.
It's like she's questioning her own perception,
Right.
grappling with, the nature of reality.
Yeah, there's a vulnerability in that question. It's like she's searching for answers,
It's true.
and it really resonates with that feeling of being caught between nostalgia and the present.
It's like she's inviting us to question our own perceptions right alongside her,
Yeah.
to go on this journey of self-discovery through her music. And speaking of journeys, let's go back to those specific tracks we were talking about.
Okay.
Remember how the review dove into each song, highlighting their unique aspects?
I do.
With You, the first track, it's like stepping into a sonic dream. You've got those shimmering synths, almost like stars in the night sky, and then this steady electronic beat that keeps you grounded.
Yeah.
It's like she's creating this balance between the ethereal and the tangible, which is so cool.
It is.
And then there's Myah's voice. It starts as a soft whisper, almost hesitant, and then gradually it gets stronger as the song goes on.
It's like she's finding her voice as the music builds around her.
I like that.
Yeah.
And then we have Summer Love, which is a complete change in energy. You remember how the review talked about that underground dance vibe and how simple the production is?
Yeah, it was so interesting.
It made me think of those warm summer nights, dancing without a care in the world.
Yeah, those are good times. What's interesting is how the review described the production. They said it was effortless but highly purposeful.
I like that.
It's cool, those soft kick drums and the sharp rim shots. They create this laid-back groove that you just can't help but move to. It's like she's captured the essence of summer and put it into a song.
I love that. It's like she bottled up that feeling of pure, carefree joy and just let it loose. And of course, there's Say It, the closing track. This one takes a different approach, doesn't it?
It really does say it. It's all about intimacy and reflection.
Yeah.
That minimalist production creates the sense of space and stillness, allowing you to really absorb the lyrics.
The review mentioned it was eerie and subtle. Can you expand on that?
Well, there's this sense of mystery hanging over the track, like a whisper in the dark. It's in the way her voice seems to float over the sparse instrumentation. It draws you in with its rawness and vulnerability.
Yeah.
And it's in the silences between the notes, where those emotions really sink in.
It's like she's giving us a peek into her most personal thoughts, her feelings. And it's both captivating and kind of unsettling at the same time.
Exactly. That's what great art does, right?
Yeah.
It challenges us, makes us feel things we might not want to face otherwise.
That's so true. And that's what makes Is This What I See such a compelling EP. It's not just about the music. It's about the story behind it.
Yes.
The feelings it evokes, the conversations it starts.
It's about capturing those fleeting moments, those bittersweet memories, and making sense of them through sound.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing the beauty and the pain of life, the joy and the sorrow, and expressing it all in a way that connects with others.
And it's about knowing that we're not alone in our struggles.
Absolutely. Other people feel these things too. That's what makes Myah's music so powerful. It creates this feeling of connection, a shared experience.
Beautifully said. Okay, before we move on to part 2 of our deep dive, let's take a moment to just appreciate what Myah's accomplished with Is This What I See?
It really shows how powerful vulnerability can be, being authentic, searching for meaning in a world that often feels chaotic.
It's inspiring, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've dug into the individual tracks. We've talked about all the emotion packed in this EP. But I kind of want to, zoom out a bit now. Is This What I See? Tell us about Myah as an artist, beyond just this project.
Well, what's really interesting is how the review positions her as a storyteller.
Okay.
It's like she's a sonic architect. She's not just throwing sounds together randomly. She's carefully crafting these soundscapes to bring out specific feelings and images.
Yeah, it's like she's building a world for us to step into when we listen.
Ooh, exactly.
And it's a world that feels familiar, but also a little unsettling, which makes it so captivating.
Yeah, that push and pull is what keeps you hooked.
Definitely. And remember how the review talked about her diverse inspirations?
Yeah.
From all those iconic bands to movies like Titanic and Holes.
Right.
It shows she's not afraid to pull from different places to create something totally new.
Absolutely. And the thing is, it works. It's not just a mishmash of influences. It comes together as a cohesive vision.
Exactly. And speaking of vision, it's interesting to think about the music scene she's navigating, right?
Sure.
I mean, we're flooded with new music all the time.
Constantly.
So what makes her stand out?
That's the big question, isn't it?
It is.
I think it boils down to her authenticity. In a world that's all about overproduced pop, she's offering something raw and real, something that feels deeply personal.
It's like she's letting us into her own headspace. Her struggles with existentialism, the passage of time, all that.
Yeah.
And somehow that makes her music even more relatable, more universal.
Totally. It's that vulnerability that forges a connection with the listener. And that connection is what elevates, is this what I see? From just an EP to an actual experience.
Okay, I love that. So as we wrap up this part of the deep dive, what can we as listeners take away from Myah's music? What sticks with us?
I think it's a reminder that music can be a powerful tool for self-discovery.
Right.
It can help us sort through our emotions, face our fears, and ultimately find beauty in all the complexities of life.
It's like she's saying, hey, it's okay to feel all these things, the good, the bad, the confusing.
Exactly.
And there's something really comforting about that.
It's a validation of being human, with all the messiness that comes with it.
Yeah.
And that's a message that really hits home, especially in today's world.
It really does. Beautifully said. And before we move on, a massive thank you to Dulaxi for sponsoring this deep dive.
Absolutely. We couldn't do it without you, Dulaxi.
So to our listeners, if you're looking for music that challenges you, comforts you, and stays with you long after the last note, I highly recommend checking out Myah's Is This What I See?
It's a journey worth taking.
And who knows, maybe it'll even inspire you to embark on your own journey of self-discovery.
Absolutely.
Until next time, keep exploring.
Keep questioning.
Keep diving deep. All right, so we've been deep into each track.
Yeah.
We've talked about how emotionally powerful this EP is.
Definitely.
But now I want to take a step back, look at the bigger picture.
Okay.
Is this what I see?
Yeah.
Tell us about Myah, not just as the creator of this project, but as an artist in general.
It's fascinating how the review paints her as this storyteller, almost like a sonic architect.
I like that.
She's not just throwing sounds together, there's intention. She's carefully building these sonic landscapes, these soundscapes that evoke specific feelings, images even.
Yeah, it's like she's creating a world, and when you listen, you step right in.
Exactly.
And it's a world that feels familiar, but there's also this edge to it, something unsettling, which is what keeps you coming back.
Right, that push and pull, it keeps you engaged.
Absolutely. And remember how the review talked about her wide range of inspirations?
Yeah.
From all those amazing bands to films like Titanic and Holes?
Oh yeah, she's pulling from everywhere.
It shows she's not afraid to experiment, to take things from different places and create something totally new and unique.
And the amazing thing is, it all works. It doesn't feel jumbled or forced. It all comes together with a clear vision.
I agree. Speaking of vision, it makes you think about the music scene she's in, right?
For sure.
We're constantly bombarded with new music.
It's overwhelming sometimes.
So what makes her stand out in all of that noise?
That's a really good question. I think it comes down to her authenticity. In a world that's obsessed with overproduced pop, she's offering something real, raw, something deeply personal.
It's like she's inviting us into her own world, letting us experience her struggles with existentialism, the way she feels about time passing.
It's intimate.
And somehow that makes her music even more relatable, like it speaks to something universal.
I think that's exactly it. It's that vulnerability, that willingness to be open that makes her music connect with people.
Right, and that connection, that's what makes Is This What I See? More than just an EP. It's a whole experience.
It really is.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what do you think we can take away from Myah's music? What kind of impact does it leave?
I think it reminds us that music can be such a powerful tool for self-discovery.
I like that.
It helps us work through our emotions, confront our fears, and ultimately, I think it helps us find beauty in all the complexity of life.
It's like she's saying it's okay to feel it all, the good, the bad, the confusing parts too.
Yeah, and there's something really comforting about that.
Absolutely. It's like a validation of the human experience in all its messy glory.
And that's a message that resonates so strongly, especially in the world we live in today.
Beautifully said. And before we go, another huge thank you to Dulaxi for sponsoring this deep dive.
Absolutely. We couldn't do it without you, Dulaxi.
So to all our listeners out there, if you're looking for music that challenges you, that comforts you, music that sticks with you long after the last note fades, I highly recommend Myah's Is This What I See?
It's a journey you won't regret.
That's it for this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, keep diving deep.